With Derrida, we noted how the ambivalence of the word could lead to endless interpretations. Similarly, it was Roland Barthes' Death of the Author that showed that regardless of what the writer intended, the reader could interpret the text endlessly from a variety of perspectives. Interpretation becomes key in terms of perception, linked to our active phenomenological engagement with the world, as Merleau-Ponty noted. Furthermore, with Deleuzian virtual potentiality being actualized via the body without organs, what man envisions can be realized. This is akin to hyperstition, where fictions have a way of becoming facts. Despite this pseudo-ideology, people often consider such a reality unalterable, having been indoctrinated through operant conditioning to interpret the dominant social ideals of their social system as truth instead of mere interpretation. Marxist reification may be used to gain a sense of class consciousness needed so as to escape out from our objectified state of organized subservience, swapping subject and object to do so. Living in an organized state of exception can be viewed as an ordered existence. Thus, one must alter the flow of desire itself, as Guattari noted, via chaos. This allows one to escape out from the dominant ideological lens, which is taken as truth as opposed to mere interpretation, seeing their reality tunnel, raw and leery, for what it truly is. As Korzybski noted, the map is not the territory itself, though we confuse the objective with the subjective. We are lost within a hyper-reality of signs and symbols, as Baudrillard noted. Similarly to Lacan, the real cannot be conveyed symbolically. Man thus keeps to his imaginary realm of culture. As John C. Lilly noted, everything a person comes to say is akin to a lie, since our language does not link directly to reality or the experiment itself. To land, this thus leads to the need to experience the world, since it cannot truly be successfully understood, where the noumenal will cannot be clearly conveyed. To Crowley, all proves to be a paradox, where all equals one equals none. The point of virtual potentiality is to understand the malleability of the world in which we live. Though there is a biological nature to every human being, the cultures and societies we shape are socially constructed, led on by language, which controls human consciousness itself. Thus, in the Marxist sense, one must obtain class consciousness in order to overcome exploitation and oppression, both of which are upheld when we continually hold on to false consciousness, unable to actualize our own interests. And so, in order to actualize anything in reality, new perspectives are needed. These new perspectives are the fictions of hyperstition, or virtual potentialities, often done in the form of memes, that alter our outlooks on life. And by way of altering our outlooks, we can come to alter reality if embraced. This essentially means embracing an eschatological outlook on life, as Jakob Taubes saw with Gnosticism, and which Eric Vogelin warned against in terms of immanentizing the eschaton from a conservative perspective. Thus, a sense of death and rebirth is needed, akin to the succession of kings. To land, a virus can be used to inject into the organized system itself, altering the way in which the program functions, deorganizing it for further fragmentation, in the hope that new virtual potentialities are presented, leading to constant change and a sense of evolution, where, via a cybernetic feedback loop, the system auto-corrects itself so as to ensure its own survival. The virus comes across in the form of hyperstition, or what some might even call meme magic. We must remember that magic is linked to demonic summoning, as noted by Crowley or the Grip of the Nun, conjuring virtual beings into creation so as to influence physical reality. Thaumaturgy is a form of miracle-making or wonder-working in this sense. Miracle etymologically means to wonder, and thus it is by wondering or being curious or thinking in unorthodox ways that one begins to make miracles in magic, tied to fantasia or the fantasy of the inner mind, and thus tied to the spirit or soul, which has origins in the egg, and the Neoplatonic algoides, bringing about the dawning of a new day. Since miracles are seen more as supernatural feats, while magic is confined to man, theurgy replaces thaumaturgy in this sense. And theurgy, as we noted, connects to henosis, uniting one with the monad or the one. With the current state of exception, man adheres to a catatonic lifestyle, where the Promethean or Nietzschean Antichrist is kept from coming about into being. The last man lingers. Marx, however, was an eschatological thinker, empathizing with the figure of Prometheus and the Antichrist, as Jakob Taubes noted. It is this catatonic restrainer that keeps the revealer from being revealed via revelation. In Christian terms, this is the return of Christ. To Heidegger, it is techne that reveals things to man. Catatonic order and organization thus keep the eschaton from occurring, as Vogelin wished, since whenever man attempts to sculpt a paradise for himself, due to his inherent flaws as a species, he paves his way to hell. Still, it should be noted that all problems, social ones included, are contextual, and despite mankind's flaws, he may come across certain contextual problems he can correct, since there is no universal solution to any particular problem. The eschatological path to progress is then taken only at a time when people see beyond the contextual and socially constructed ideological lens in which they are living. Only when man is alienated, as noted in Joyce's Wake, does he see things for what they actually are, like a stranger in a strange land, or from seeing through the stigmatized outsider's perspective. Only once he is gnostically awoken at the wake is he reborn, forged in Promethean and alchemic fire, fluxing and flowing, as Heraclitus noted, driven to alter the dominant ideological desires around him as an alienated outcast, rousing rebels like him to revolution. Again, such a person is seen as sick or insane by organized systems and institutes, akin to psychoanalytic illnesses that are prescribed so as to maintain the status quo for the sake of civilizational order. Revolution and change is sought in altering the predetermined destiny for us amongst the stars, where cosmopolitan man casts aside his stoic disposition and astrologically or gnostically escapes, no longer believing in the demiurgic deception that drives his unjust destiny. Ideology is thus such a deception, deemed demiurgic. After all, transcendently, the truth with a capital T cannot be known by material or finite man. Thus, all is interpretive, and only truths with little t's can be told. Again, in phenomenological terms, noumenon is bracketed off since it cannot be known, relying upon perception to actively engage with the world, where at best, we can empirically rely on impartial and objective evidence, studying the world scientifically. Unlike the Hegelian, who uses negation to self-actualize toward the absolute, drawing toward a unified identity, Deleuzians go in the opposite path, differentiating via endless difference, opening up new potentialities to get outside. To an accelerationist, this outside takes on Kantian and transcendental traits, never knowing, but merely seeing what manifests as the will represents itself in the world. Accelerationism is not a call to action of any kind, as akin to Matthew 6:34, although unknowingly, one needs not to take thought for tomorrow. Like Augustinian time, though finite man sees things in terms of past, present, and future, all exists within an infinite and eternal present, where God is outside of time itself. And thus, there is an everlasting immortality to life, where via the act of becoming other, things die but are reborn, akin to Christ, leading to a linear succession of divine kings, going back to Diana of the Wood and gracing Fraser's golden bough near the Lake of Nemi. Man is but a phoenix bird, dying and being reborn while living in an eternal present. The Buddhist knows how to live in the now. As the katachan and the state of exception comes, it is but one rebirth. That, too, is doomed to eventually die. All of history, after all, is eschatological. Nothing truly ends or starts in an eternal and cyclic system. However, one can escape and slip away to the outside from time to time, reinterpreting the text just as we brought up with Roland Barthes. Authors die, so the text can be reborn through new interpretation. All writings must face ruin before revelation. Only through the mystery cults can one conjure something new into creation, dying and being reborn, becoming a part of some kind of mystical system that escapes into the unknown. Only through such alienation can one encounter the other, and it is only by being outside our comfort zone that one can learn in life, leaving their dominant ideological lens to die so as to allow new life to linger. In the end, however, the thing in itself remains inexpressible, linked to a book of lies to Crowley, lost to endless interpretation. Truth, with a capital T, cannot be told, and people's interpretations and patterns of speech prove to be a paradox.